What if I told you that the most attractive woman in the room isn't always the loudest, the richest, or the one with the perfect appearance? Real attraction isn't something you wear. It's something you become. The women who leave a lasting impression don't chase approval, they build character. They don't compete for attention, they create value. Today, you'll discover 6 powerful habits that can transform not only how others see you, but more importantly, how you see yourself. Because true beauty begins the moment your mind becomes stronger than your fears. The moment you stop asking the world for permission to feel valuable, your life begins to change. Most people spend years trying to become attractive by focusing on their appearance, their achievements, or the approval of others. But the truth is, none of those things can create lasting confidence if they are not built on a foundation of self-respect. Real confidence is not something another person gives you. It is something you decide to practice every single day through your actions, your choices, and your standards. Think about the people who naturally command respect when they walk into a room. They are not always the loudest. They are not always the wealthiest. They are not even the most physically attractive. What sets them apart is the quiet certainty they have about who they are. They know their values. They know what they will accept and what they will not. That certainty becomes visible to everyone around them. Confidence is less about what you say and more about how consistently you honor yourself. Too often, people confuse validation with self-worth. Validation feels good, but it is temporary. A compliment can lift your mood for a moment. 100 likes on social media can make you smile for an hour. Praise from someone you admire can make your day. But what happens when the compliments stop? What happens when no one notices your effort? If your confidence depends entirely on outside approval, then someone else controls how you feel about yourself. That is not confidence. That is dependence. Mentally strong women understand that self-respect begins with keeping promises to themselves. If you tell yourself that you will wake up early, then wake up early. If you promise yourself that you will exercise, read, or learn something new, follow through. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send your mind a powerful message. I can trust myself. Trust is the foundation of confidence. Without self-trust, even the greatest achievements will feel empty because deep inside, you know you have not been honest with yourself. Self-respect also means accepting that not everyone will understand you, agree with you, or even like you, and that is perfectly okay. One of the greatest freedoms in life comes when you stop trying to fit into every room and start creating your own space. You cannot build an extraordinary life while constantly worrying about disappointing people who never truly supported your journey. The more you chase universal approval, the further you drift from your authentic self. There is something incredibly attractive about a woman who knows her values. She does not change her personality depending on who is watching. She does not pretend to agree just to avoid conflict. She is kind without becoming weak. She is compassionate without allowing herself to be taken for granted. She understands that respect begins with respecting herself first. That does not mean becoming arrogant or believing you are better than others. In fact, true self-respect often creates greater humility. When you know your worth, you no longer need to compete, compare, or prove yourself. You celebrate other people's success because you understand that their victories do not diminish your own potential. Secure people inspire others instead of intimidating them. Life will test your standards. There will be moments when someone offers less than you deserve. There will be relationships where people expect you to sacrifice your peace to keep them comfortable. There will be opportunities that promise quick rewards but require you to compromise your values. In those moments, self-respect becomes your compass. It reminds you that short-term comfort is never worth long-term regret. Building self-respect is not a single decision. It is a daily habit. It is choosing discipline over excuses. It is choosing honesty over convenience. It is choosing growth over comfort. Every small decision either strengthens your identity or weakens it. The beautiful truth is that every new day gives you another opportunity to choose yourself. Remember, the world often reflects the standard you set for yourself. When you believe you deserve respect, you naturally begin making choices that protect your time, your energy, your dreams, and your future. You stop settling for relationships that drain you. You stop apologizing for having healthy boundaries. You stop shrinking yourself to make insecure people feel comfortable. Instead, you stand with quiet confidence, knowing that your value was never created by someone else's opinion. At the end of the day, the most attractive quality anyone can possess is not perfection. It is authenticity rooted in self-respect. Because when you truly value yourself, you no longer spend your life asking, "Do they see my worth?" Instead, you ask a far more powerful question: am I living in a way that honors the person I am becoming? And when the answer is yes, no amount of criticism can shake your confidence, because your strength no longer comes from the outside. It comes from within. One of the greatest signs of mental strength is not how loudly you speak or how quickly you respond. It is your ability to remain calm when everything around you is trying to pull you into chaos. In today's world, people are encouraged to react instantly. Social media rewards emotional outbursts. Arguments escalate within seconds. Small misunderstandings become major conflicts because people respond before they think. But emotionally strong women understand a simple truth. Every reaction is a choice. You may not control what happens to you, but you always have the opportunity to choose how you respond. There is a powerful difference between having emotions and allowing emotions to control your life. Every person experiences disappointment, frustration, fear, jealousy, sadness, and anger. These feelings are part of being human. Mental strength does not mean pretending those emotions do not exist. It means recognizing them without allowing them to become your master. A strong woman feels deeply, but she thinks clearly. She gives herself permission to experience emotions without letting those emotions make important decisions for her. Imagine someone criticizing you unfairly. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself immediately or return the same harsh words. That reaction may feel satisfying for a moment, but it often creates regret afterward. Now imagine taking a deep breath, listening carefully, and responding with confidence instead of anger. Suddenly, you are no longer giving another person control over your emotional state. You are demonstrating maturity, wisdom, and self-control. That quiet strength often leaves a greater impression than any argument ever could. People are naturally drawn to those who create peace instead of drama. A calm presence has a unique power. It reassures others during uncertainty. It creates trust during conflict. It inspires confidence when everyone else is overwhelmed. Think about the leaders, mentors, or role models you admire most. Chances are they are not remembered because they panicked under pressure. They are remembered because they remained steady when others lost control. Learning emotional control begins with becoming aware of your triggers. Every person has situations that provoke strong emotional reactions. It may be criticism, rejection, disrespect, failure, or uncertainty. Instead of avoiding these moments, mentally strong women become curious about them. They ask themselves, why did this affect me so deeply? That question transforms emotional pain into personal growth. Self-awareness is the first step towards self-mastery. Another important habit is learning the power of the pause. Not every message needs an immediate reply. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Not every opinion requires your defense. Sometimes the strongest response is silence while you gather your thoughts. Silence is not weakness. It is wisdom choosing the right moment to speak. When you pause, you give your logical mind the chance to guide your actions instead of letting temporary emotions take control. This does not mean becoming cold or distant. Emotional intelligence is not about hiding your feelings. It is about expressing them with honesty and respect. There is strength in saying, "That hurt me," instead of attacking someone. There is courage in admitting fear instead of pretending to be fearless. Vulnerability handled with wisdom creates deeper connections than emotional explosions ever will. Another secret to emotional strength is accepting that you cannot control other people's behavior. You cannot force someone to respect you. You cannot make everyone understand your intentions. You cannot prevent every disappointment, but you can control your attitude, your character, and your response. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of wasting energy trying to manage others, you begin investing that energy in becoming the person you want to be. Many people mistake emotional control for emotional suppression, but they are completely different. Suppressing emotions means pretending everything is fine while pain continues to grow beneath the surface. Healthy emotional control means acknowledging your feelings, processing them, learning from them, and then choosing actions that align with your values rather than your impulses. It is not about denying your emotions. It is about directing them wisely. Remember that difficult moments are not interruptions to your growth. They are opportunities for growth. Every challenge gives you another chance to practice patience. Every disagreement teaches communication. Every disappointment builds resilience. Every setback reminds you that your strength is not measured by how often life goes your way, but by how gracefully you recover when it doesn't. As your emotional discipline grows, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself in every conversation. You stop allowing criticism to define your identity. You stop carrying anger longer than necessary because you realize your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. Your presence becomes calmer but more influential. At the end of the day, real strength is not found in overpowering other people. It is found in mastering yourself. A woman who can remain composed during adversity, speak with wisdom instead of impulse, and choose peace over unnecessary conflict possesses a kind of beauty that never fades. Her confidence is not built on perfect circumstances, but on the certainty that no matter what life brings, she has the inner strength to face it with courage, dignity, and grace. The women who make the greatest impact in life are rarely the ones who believe they have already learned enough. They are the ones who stay curious, keep growing, and understand that every single day offers a new opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more capable. Growth is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a lifelong commitment to becoming a better version of yourself. The moment you stop growing, you begin settling, and settling slowly steals your confidence, your excitement, and your potential. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that confidence comes before action. They wait until they feel ready before starting something new. They tell themselves they will speak up when they become more confident, apply for the opportunity when they feel qualified enough, or chase their dreams when fear finally disappears. But confidence doesn't appear first. It grows through action. Every time you challenge yourself, even in a small way, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you believed yesterday. Think about learning any new skill. The first attempt is usually uncomfortable. You make mistakes. You doubt yourself. You compare your progress to people who have been practicing for years. But if you continue showing up, something begins to change. The task that once felt impossible becomes familiar. Your uncertainty turns into competence. Competence turns into confidence. This is how real self-belief is built, not by wishing for it, but by earning it through consistent effort. Mentally strong women understand that personal growth is not only about professional success or academic achievement. It includes emotional growth, spiritual growth, physical health, communication skills, financial wisdom, and the ability to build healthy relationships. They recognize that every area of life is connected. Improving your mindset improves your decisions. Better decisions improve your habits. Better habits improve your future. Small improvements, repeated consistently, create extraordinary transformation over time. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is making learning part of your daily routine. Read books that challenge your thinking. Listen to inspiring conversations during your commute. Learn from people who have achieved what you hope to accomplish. Ask thoughtful questions instead of pretending you already know the answers. Every piece of knowledge you gain becomes another tool that helps you navigate life's challenges with greater confidence and wisdom. Growth also requires humility. It takes courage to admit that there is still more to learn. Some people stop improving because they become too attached to appearing knowledgeable. They avoid asking questions because they fear looking inexperienced. But the strongest people are often the best learners because they are not afraid to say, "I don't know yet." That single word, "yet," changes everything. It reminds you that today's limitation does not have to become tomorrow's identity. Another important part of continuous growth is stepping outside your comfort zone. Comfort feels safe, but it rarely creates transformation. Every meaningful achievement begins with discomfort. The first presentation feels intimidating. The first workout feels exhausting. The first difficult conversation feels awkward. The first step toward a new dream feels uncertain. But growth has always lived on the other side of discomfort. Every challenge you overcome expands your confidence and prepares you for even greater opportunities. Comparison is one of the biggest obstacles to growth. It is easy to look at someone else's success and feel as though you are falling behind. But every person is living a different story. facing different challenges, and moving at a different pace. Comparing your beginning to someone else's middle will only distract you from your own progress. Instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? That question keeps your attention where it belongs, on your own journey. Mentally strong women also understand that failure is not the opposite of growth. It is part of growth. Every setback contains a lesson that success could never teach. A failed attempt reveals weaknesses you can improve. A disappointment teaches resilience. A mistake increases wisdom if you are willing to learn from it. The only true failure is refusing to continue because something became difficult. Growth belongs to those who remain committed long after the excitement of a new beginning has faded. Surrounding yourself with the right people also plays a powerful role in personal development. The people you spend the most time with influence your mindset, your habits, and your expectations. Choose relationships that encourage your dreams instead of diminishing them. Spend time with people who challenge you to think bigger, act with integrity, and continue improving. Positive influence creates positive momentum, and positive momentum leads to lasting change. It is also important to celebrate progress instead of waiting for perfection. Too many people overlook how far they have come because they are focused only on how far they still have to go. Every new habit, every lesson learned, every fear confronted, and every goal achieved deserves recognition. Progress fuels motivation. When you acknowledge your growth, you strengthen your belief that continued improvement is possible. Remember that your greatest competition is not another person. It is the version of yourself that chooses comfort over courage, excuses over discipline, and fear over possibility. Every morning gives you a new opportunity to make a different choice. Read one more page, learn one new skill, practice one healthy habit, have one meaningful conversation. These small decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, they shape the person you become. The most attractive quality is not perfection. It is the willingness to keep evolving. A woman who embraces growth radiates confidence because she knows she is never defined by her current circumstances. She understands that every challenge is preparing her for something greater. She walks through life with curiosity instead of fear, purpose instead of doubt, and determination instead of excuses. That commitment to continuous growth becomes more than a habit. It becomes a way of life, and it creates a strength, confidence, and inner beauty that no obstacle can ever take away. One of the most powerful decisions a woman can make is learning that protecting her peace is not selfish. It is necessary. Many people spend years believing that being kind means always saying yes, always being available, and always putting everyone else's needs ahead of their own. While kindness is a beautiful quality, kindness without boundaries often leads to exhaustion, resentment, and a loss of self-respect. Truly attractive and mentally strong women understand that healthy boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are guidelines that teach people how to treat you with respect. Imagine your life as a home. You wouldn't leave your front door open for every stranger to walk in, rearrange your furniture, and take whatever they wanted. Yet many people do exactly that with their emotional lives. They allow anyone's opinions to shape their confidence. They let constant demands consume their time. They tolerate disrespect because they fear disappointing others. Over time, they become emotionally drained, wondering why they feel overwhelmed. The answer is often simple. They never learn to protect what matters most. Setting boundaries begins with understanding your own values. Before you can teach others how to treat you, you must first decide what behavior you will and will not accept. If honesty matters to you, don't tolerate repeated dishonesty. If respect matters to you, don't excuse constant disrespect. If peace matters to you, don't continuously invite unnecessary drama into your life. Your boundaries are simply a reflection of your values in action. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with rejection. They worry that saying no will make them seem rude, uncaring, or difficult. But saying yes to everything often means saying no to yourself. Every unnecessary commitment takes time away from your health, your family, your goals, or your peace of mind. Every moment spent trying to please everyone is a moment you cannot invest in becoming the person you were meant to be. Mentally strong women recognize that no is a complete sentence. They do not feel obligated to explain every decision or defend every boundary. They understand that people who genuinely respect them will also respect their limits. Those who become angry every time you establish a boundary often benefited from the absence of one. Their discomfort is not proof that your boundary is wrong. It is often proof that the boundary was needed all along. Healthy boundaries also protect your emotional energy. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every negative person deserves unlimited access to your thoughts and emotions. One of the greatest signs of maturity is learning where your energy creates value and where it is simply being wasted. Every day, you have a limited amount of emotional energy. Spend it wisely on things that help you grow rather than things that pull you backward. Relationships become healthier when boundaries are clear. Contrary to what many believe, boundaries do not weaken relationships. They strengthen them. They create honesty instead of silent resentment. They encourage mutual respect instead of unhealthy dependence. When people understand your expectations, communication becomes clearer and trust becomes stronger. Strong relationships are not built on constant sacrifice. They are built on mutual understanding, respect, and care. There will always be moments when life tests your boundaries. Someone may pressure you to compromise your values. Someone may expect you to tolerate behavior that damages your confidence. Someone may try to make you feel guilty for choosing your own well-being. During those moments, remember that protecting your peace is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of wisdom. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself allows you to show up more fully for the people and responsibilities that truly matter. Learning to set boundaries also requires letting go of the need to be liked by everyone. This is one of the hardest lessons because human beings naturally desire acceptance. But trying to earn everyone's approval often leads to living someone else's life instead of your own. The strongest women understand that respect is far more valuable than popularity. They would rather be respected for their honesty than admired for pretending to be someone they are not. Boundaries are also an expression of self-confidence. Every time you honor your limits, you reinforce the belief that your time, energy, and well-being have value. This quiet confidence becomes visible to others. People naturally recognize those who respect themselves because they carry themselves differently. They speak with clarity. They make decisions with purpose. They do not apologize for having standards. Their confidence comes not from controlling others, but from knowing they are responsible for protecting their own lives. It is important to remember that boundaries should always be communicated with kindness and respect. Firmness does not require anger. You can be compassionate while remaining clear. You can disagree without becoming disrespectful. You can walk away from unhealthy situations without wishing harm on anyone involved. Strength and kindness are not opposites. They are partners. The most influential people often possess both. As you continue growing, your boundaries may change. What you tolerated years ago may no longer align with the person you are becoming. That is not inconsistency, it is growth. Every season of life teaches you something new about your values, your priorities, and your purpose. Allow your boundaries to evolve as your wisdom grows. At the end of the day, the most attractive women are not those who try to make everyone happy. They are the women who live with integrity, protect their peace, and remain true to their values even when it is difficult. They understand that every boundary they set is not a barrier against love, but a bridge toward healthier relationships, greater self-respect, and lasting mental strength. When you honor yourself enough to protect your time, your energy, and your heart, you create a life where confidence grows naturally. Peace becomes your foundation, and your inner strength shines brighter than anything the world can take away. Words have incredible power. They can encourage someone to believe in themselves, strengthen a relationship, calm a difficult situation, or inspire a person to change their life. They can also create misunderstandings, damage trust, and leave emotional scars that last for years. Mentally strong and truly attractive women understand that communication is not about speaking the most or having the loudest voice. It is about using words with intention, listening with genuine interest, and making every conversation an opportunity to build understanding instead of conflict. In today's fast-paced world, many people listen only long enough to prepare their next response. Conversations become competitions rather than connections. Everyone wants to be heard, but very few people make others feel truly understood. That is why the ability to listen carefully has become one of the rarest and most valuable qualities a person can possess. When someone feels heard, they feel respected. When they feel respected, trust begins to grow. And trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. Think about the people you enjoy spending time with. Chances are they are not always the funniest or the most entertaining. They are the ones who make you feel comfortable enough to be yourself. They ask thoughtful questions. They remember the small details you share. They listen without constantly interrupting or trying to shift the conversation back to themselves. That kind of presence is powerful because it communicates something everyone longs to hear without using words. You matter. Strong communication begins long before you open your mouth. It begins with your mindset. Instead of entering every conversation thinking, how can I impress this person? Ask yourself, how can I understand this person? That simple shift changes everything. It moves your focus away from proving your value and toward creating value. The more interested you become in others, the more naturally they become interested in you. Mentally strong women also know that not every thought needs to be spoken. Wisdom is often found in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. There are moments when silence creates more impact than 100 words. A pause allows emotions to settle, gives people time to reflect, and prevents unnecessary arguments. Silence is not weakness, it is self-control. It is choosing understanding over impulse and peace over unnecessary conflict. This does not mean avoiding difficult conversations. In fact, mentally strong women understand that honest conversations are essential for healthy relationships. They are willing to speak the truth, but they choose words that build instead of destroy. They express disagreement without disrespect. They communicate their needs without attacking someone else's character. They understand that the goal of communication is not to win an argument, but to strengthen understanding. Another important part of meaningful communication is consistency. Your words should match your actions. Anyone can make promises during emotional moments, but trust is built when your behavior reflects what you say. If you promise support, be supportive. If you promise honesty, tell the truth even when it is uncomfortable. If you speak about kindness, let kindness become visible in your daily actions. People are inspired more by consistency than by impressive speeches. There will be times when people criticize you unfairly or misunderstand your intentions. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself immediately, but mentally strong women recognize that not every misunderstanding requires a lengthy explanation. Sometimes your character speaks louder than your words ever could. If you continue living with integrity, time often reveals the truth more effectively than arguments. Confidence allows you to remain calm because you know your identity is not determined by another person's opinion. Listening also requires humility. It means accepting that you do not have all the answers. Every person you meet has experiences, lessons, and perspectives that you have never encountered. Approaching conversations with curiosities instead of certainty opens the door to personal growth. The strongest people are lifelong learners because they understand that wisdom grows through listening as much as through speaking. Empathy is another essential part of powerful communication. Before responding to someone's words, try to understand the emotions behind them. Sometimes people are not looking for solutions. They simply want someone to acknowledge their feelings. A few sincere words spoken with compassion can heal more than hours of advice. The ability to make someone feel seen, valued, and understood is one of the greatest gifts you can offer another human being. It is also important to speak kindly to yourself. The conversations you have in your own mind shape your confidence more than any conversation you have with others. If your inner voice constantly repeats, "I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed," or "I'm always failing," your confidence will slowly disappear. Mentally strong women intentionally replace self-criticism with self-respect. They acknowledge mistakes without allowing those mistakes to define their identity. They encourage themselves the way they would encourage someone they deeply care about. As you become more intentional with your communication, you will notice something remarkable. Your relationships become stronger because people trust your honesty. Conflicts become easier to resolve because you listen before reacting. Opportunities begin to appear because people recognize your maturity and professionalism. Most importantly, your confidence grows because your words consistently reflect your values rather than your emotions. At the end of the day, attractive communication is not about having the perfect vocabulary or delivering flawless speeches. It is about making people feel respected, valued, and understood. A woman who listens with intention, speaks with kindness, communicates with honesty, and remains calm even during difficult conversations carries a quiet strength that leaves a lasting impression. Long after people forget your appearance, they will remember how your words made them feel. And that is the kind of influence that never fades. The most attractive and mentally strong women are not those who depend on constant attention, approval, or reassurance from others. They are the women who have built a life filled with purpose, direction, and meaning. They wake up each morning with goals that excite them, values that guide them, and a vision that is bigger than temporary opinions. They understand that real happiness is not something another person gives you. It is something you create through the choices you make every single day. Many people spend years believing that fulfillment will come when they finally receive enough recognition. They think they will be happy when someone appreciates them more, when they receive more compliments, or when everyone around them approves of their decisions. But the problem with building your happiness on other people's opinions is that those opinions constantly change. One day, people may celebrate you, and the next day, they may criticize you. If your confidence rises and falls with every outside opinion, you will never experience lasting peace. Mentally strong women make a different decision. Instead of asking, "How can I make everyone like me?" they ask, "How can I become someone I am proud of?" That single question changes the direction of their lives. It shifts the focus from seeking approval to pursuing purpose. It reminds them that the most important relationship they will ever have is the relationship they have with themselves. Purpose gives you strength during difficult seasons. When challenges appear, people who live only for comfort often give up because discomfort feels like failure. But people who live with purpose see obstacles differently. They understand that every setback is preparing them for something greater. Every disappointment teaches resilience. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to grow stronger. Purpose allows you to keep moving forward even when motivation disappears, because your reason for continuing is deeper than your emotions. Creating a meaningful life begins with identifying what truly matters to you. What kind of person do you want to become? What values do you want people to remember when they think about your life? What contribution do you want to make to your family, your community, or the world? These questions are far more important than asking how to impress people, because purpose always outlasts popularity. One of the greatest habits of mentally strong women is taking responsibility for their own happiness. They enjoy healthy relationships, but they do not expect another person to complete them. They appreciate encouragement, but they do not depend on constant praise. They understand that while love from others is valuable, self-respect and inner peace cannot be borrowed. They must be built from within. This mindset also changes the way they approach relationships. Instead of entering relationships out of loneliness or fear, they choose relationships that align with their values. They no longer tolerate disrespect simply because they fear being alone. They know that loneliness is temporary, but sacrificing self-respect can leave lasting emotional scars. Their standards are not based on pride, but on wisdom. They understand that protecting their peace is more important than maintaining unhealthy connections. Purpose is also reflected in daily habits. It is not enough to have big dreams if your daily routine does not support them. Every morning offers an opportunity to take one small step toward the future you want. Read a few pages of a book. Exercise your body. Practice gratitude. Learn a new skill. Save money for your future. Encourage someone who needs hope. These simple actions may appear ordinary, but over time, they create extraordinary results. Success is rarely built in one dramatic moment. It is built through thousands of small decisions made with consistency. Another important lesson is learning to celebrate progress instead of chasing perfection. Too many people postpone happiness until they achieve every goal. They believe they must become perfect before they deserve to feel proud of themselves. But perfection is an impossible standard. Growth is the real goal. Every lesson learned, every fear faced, every healthy choice made, and every act of courage deserves recognition. Progress reminds you that you are moving forward, even if the journey takes longer than expected. There will always be voices that try to distract you. Some people will question your dreams because they abandoned their own. Others may criticize your decisions because your growth reminds them of the changes they have avoided. Mentally strong women learn to listen carefully to advice, but never allow fear or negativity to determine their future. They understand that everyone has an opinion, but not every opinion deserves influence over their life. They also recognize that comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose joy. In today's world, it is easy to compare your life with carefully edited images of someone else's success. But comparison steals gratitude and creates unnecessary pressure. Instead of measuring your worth against another person's journey, focus on becoming a little stronger, wiser, and kinder than you were yesterday. That is the only competition that truly matters. Living with purpose also means embracing gratitude. Grateful people notice opportunities that others overlook. They appreciate small victories. They recognize the lessons hidden inside difficult moments. Gratitude does not ignore life's problems. It simply refuses to allow those problems to overshadow life's blessings. A grateful heart creates emotional resilience because it trains your mind to focus on possibility instead of limitation. As your life becomes more purpose-driven, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing attention because your mission becomes more important than applause. You stop seeking constant validation because your confidence comes from living according to your values. You become more peaceful because you know exactly what matters and what does not. That quiet certainty becomes visible in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you treat others, and the way you handle adversity. At the end of the day, the most attractive quality a woman can possess is not perfect appearance, flawless success, or endless popularity. It is the quiet confidence that comes from living a life of purpose. A woman who knows who she is, understands what she stands for, and continues moving toward her goals regardless of outside approval, carries a strength that cannot be taken away. Her beauty is reflected in her character, her resilience, her kindness, and her unwavering commitment to becoming the best version of herself. That kind of strength inspires others, transforms lives, and leaves a legacy that lasts far beyond appearances or opinions.